Right, so we're going to have a look at what is campaign. We've spoken previously about campaigns when we looked at the advertising project. We considered what makes a campaign as a whole, the things that connect them, what actually a campaign was. We also looked at different methods. So I'm just going to kind of recap some of those things that we spoke about previously. Now, to start off with, there are many different types of campaigns. We're going to consider mostly four different ones for the purpose of this course. So, the four that we're really looking at is advertising campaigns. These are what we looked at previously when we did the Your Advertising Coursework project. And advertising campaigns are designed primarily to promote a product or service, to persuade a particular audience, and that's very important that there is that very specific audience, to persuade a particular audience to take up that product or service. We also have political campaigns. There's a massive one going on at the moment with the Scottish referendum. Both sides are using many different media platforms as well as face-to-face discussions in order to persuade the people of Scotland, who are old enough to vote, to choose whether Scotland should stay as part of the UK or not. And political campaigns, again, use a lot of persuasive language. They are designed to persuade, again, a specific audience grouping to act in a particular way. We then have charity campaigns. Charity campaigns, similar to advertising campaigns, often designed to persuade a target audience to donate money or donate time or to somehow engage with that charity and their objectives. So charity campaigns, again, use a lot of persuasive language, possibly, arguably, the campaign type that uses the most emotive language to really tug on your heartstrings to get you wanting to help their particular cause. And so things like the NSPCC, Talk to Frank, the NSPCC, Bernardo's, Dogs Trust, those kind of things are examples of that. And the final one, which where Talk to Frank comes in, are the public safety campaigns. The ones that are intended to educate, to inform, to protect people, to persuade them to behave in a certain way, to do something for their own good or for the good of the country. So there are four main kinds that we're going to be looking at. To start off with, just to run through why campaigns are produced. First of all, they are produced to promote a product, as I said, in the form mainly of advertising or charity campaigns. Often they may be used to publicise an event, to persuade people to join a particular rally or campaign march. They're designed to raise awareness for a particular issue, and this is one of the things that's most relevant to your project. Your brief is to raise awareness within young people of the issues of internet piracy, illegal downloads, copyright theft, intellectual property, that kind of thing. And that is kind of your main aim. You are to raise awareness of it. You're not to lecture them. You are there just to kind of inform and kind of discuss what's happening. The other part of your project, and what campaigns generally to do, is to educate people. And again, we don't want you in your project to lecture the young people into saying how evil these issues are, but to try and educate them into making more accepted legal choices. Campaigns are often there to provide a public service. They're there to, again, help the public, help them make the right choices for their life, keep them alive longer. So campaigns include linked products. Now I've put linked in red. It's very, very important that when you come to do your campaign that you create a number of products that are very, very clearly linked. There are a lot of connections between your TV advert and your website and your magazine advert or your posters or whatever it is you choose to do. So linked products are essential, and when you come to do your analysis in a few lessons' time, you will one of the things you'll be looking at is how the different products from a particular campaign are linked. So some of the ways they link products, they use the same slogan on all their media text. So for example, their poster will have the same slogan as the TV advert. And these are all things that we also looked at and you had to think of when you were doing your advertising project last year. They may use similar images and pictures. Now, they won't use the exact same images, but they'll use the same style. For example, the NSPCC campaigns often use young children, often in a black and white or with a sepia filter, to kind of really evoke emotion. And so you may use a number of similar images or pictures. The use of the same logo. Now, you're lucky, you've been told what the name of your campaign is. However, you still have to design the logo, you still have to come up with a slogan. And this logo will appear on all of your products next to the Copyright Hero's name. Contact details. Even if you're not creating a website, and you don't have to, you could pick the print and the film medium, you still have to maybe put on a website address. You need to have a contact phone number, for example, or a text number on all your products, so you've got the same contact details, so there's that sense of connection, a linkedness between the products. A house style, we talked about house style when we did magazines, and the use of a specific colour or a particular writing font or a particular writing style. It could be something as simple as using a serif or a sans serif font to really, again, reflect your core audience and the seriousness of the issue. Again, the NSPCC, their main colours are green, and again, you would associate the kind of, when you see their websites, and you would associate that green with that particular campaign. You've done persuasive language since at least year 7, if not before then. And so you will be doing it for English as well this year, because it comes up in your GCSE English exam. And we did it last year when we did advertising. So you should know a whole heap of different persuasive features. However, you need to make sure that they're being used and think about why have they been used? What is the effect? Why has that particular rhetorical question, rule of 3, whatever, been used? The campaigns will have a clear purpose, a clear intention. Is it to educate or inform, or to try to persuade people to do whatever? And again, a clear target audience. They will be very, very specific. Again, think about who your target audience are when you come to do your campaign. Bear in mind that 18-year-olds are very different to 11-year-olds. They respond in different ways. 18-year-olds can cope with more mature material, more reading material, whereas lower school may want fewer words, they may want brighter colours, something like that. Again, when you come to analyse campaigns, think about who your specific target audience are. Who their target audience are. And again, what evidence is there for that? If it's a charity campaign and it's wanting a direct debit or a standing order set up, it's wanting regular money, then it's more likely going to be it's definitely aimed at over 18s. So adults who may have the disposable income to afford this extra money, who are in the position to set up this regular fee. And the language, the techniques used, the colours, the presentation will possibly be a bit more mature, more formal, as opposed to the Talk to Frank campaign, which is aimed specifically at teenagers, persuading them or discussing the issues surrounding drugs, which are more informal, more fun, more visually engaging. So campaign methods. We've talked about campaign methods, we've talked about advertising methods previously. There's just some examples here. We made a whole list of them when you did advertising previously. So some things use threat in order to reach their target audience. A sense of doom, things like the smoke ones, things that are damaging to health will often use the threat of the danger to people's lives to really hit home and get people to do whatever they want you to do. The use of shock and shock tactics, graphic images, quite unexpected messages are again used because they generally tend to stick in people's minds. Catchy music and slogans don't have to be works of musical genius. Something as simple as like washing machines live longer with Calgon. You probably sing it in your head now. It's so simple and straightforward. It's very catchy, and that message then sticks in the audience's minds. Enigma is like a mystery, trying to get people questioning the advert and wondering what the message is. And using famous or relevant people, again, is quite an effective method to persuade people to get involved or to act based on what their heroes suggest. So to have a quick look at this advert, it's quite a graphic image. I would argue that this advert is possibly aimed at some young adult males. The very, very graphic image, quite gross, to really get their message across about the pain associated with being hooked on cigarettes, and the fact they used a young adult male model for the campaign, as well as the colour scheme implies that's their specific target audience. Whereas this one, aimed at teenagers, we're going to get a teenage boy on the image. It's just when you actually look closely at it and realise what the image actually is of, with if you turn on its side, it's the boy laying dead in a road. The message is a lot more hard hitting. It's trying to encourage young people, especially, not to walk around and just cross over roads with their headphones on, to actually think, like it says in the advert, to actually pay attention and take more notice on the road. And this campaign is quite hard hitting because it uses a model of the target audience's age, and dressed in the similar outfits with the same hairstyles, with the headphones coming out the ears, because that's an icon. That's the image that audience would understand and respond to. So the work that we're going to do in this lesson, and in purple at the top it says blog your work. We're going to look at these different tasks. First of all, I want you to think, what are campaigns? Don't just go and copy and paste it from Wikipedia. What do I mean by campaigns? I've gone through 4 different ones at the start. I want you to try and define what we mean by a campaign. What different methods of promotion are there? Now, you did something like this for the advertising project. So billboard, TV advert, magazine advert, etc., etc. That's for you to, the etc.'s are for you to fill in. I want you to think about different types of campaigns, as I mentioned at the beginning. I've mentioned some well-known campaigns so far, but I want you to find some examples. The NSPCC, for example, are the company, the charity. Any specific campaigns from them that they've been involved in, and again, you might want to look on their individual charities or campaigns websites in order to find examples. And I want you to list advertising techniques as well. Again, we've done this previously. Question 4, what do we mean by copyright, intellectual property, file sharing and digital piracy? I just want, quite clear. I want you to show me you understand these words. So again, don't just copy and paste the words. I want you to write and I want you to understand it. How are young people involved in piracy? When I first surveyed you all at the start of this, a few weeks ago, I asked you how many people have been on some of the websites or maybe shared some music or something. And the majority of you, without getting into too much trouble, put up your hand that in some point you had done this. So how do young people get involved in this piracy? You're not all criminals, that's legally, but you're not these hung criminals. So how have you got involved in it? Why did people choose to do these things? What methods of piracy and illegal sharing are there for various media forms? So, for example, for TV programmes, what do people do to illegally download, to share them, that kind of thing? For music, what do people do? Why is file sharing and illegal downloads wrong? What's the issue with it? Why is it so wrong? And finally, it's not very clear there, but it is also on my blog as well. Find examples of where piracy and copyright have been in the news. And so find some examples of news reports about these things, and what have you learned from them? What do you learn from these reports? What are the main issues? Okay? Thank you for listening.